All systems go. Clear for liftoff.
What is going on, SHIPIT Nation YouTube station? Monday, April 8th here, bringing you the MLB winners in the midst of the world ending here with the good old eclipse going on outside. Not sure if everybody's out there checking out that sun, checking out that moon coming over there. I mean, groundbreaking news there. Everyone thought the world was going to end here. Just a little eclipse out there. How much? Bring you in, man. Happy Monday. How was your weekend, brother? How's the eclipse festivities going over there in the Hamwich household? Sounds like you got some stuff going on over there. But what's up, brother? How you doing, man?
Yeah, doing well. My glasses are right over there. And Nades, I don't think you were born, man. Y2K, the world was ending right when the clock struck midnight back in 1999 into 2000. But here we are. We march on to 2024. Jake Swell's eclipse was a dudder. I agree with you, Jake. It took me quite a few times to see that eclipse today. I had my glasses. I feel blind, though, looking up there. But weekend was good. Got a big night tonight. Got a basketball game. I don't know if you're a basketball guy, Nades. Big game tonight. Big MLB slate. Man, the Brewers hit a homer in the bottom of the eighth. Hurt me last night. It was very hurtful last night, Nades. Cost me a seat to the FanDuel Live final, but hey, we march on. We got a good one today, though. Let's talk through it for sure.
Yeah, national championship game tonight. Little UConn, little Purdue action here. We'll see if the Big Ten has anything to say for basically everybody's saying Detroit Pistons-esque NBA team, right, in UConn there. So should be a good game. We got 9 games of baseball tonight as well. Kind of getting second week, third week, right, of the season here. The weather's still pretty trash across the country here. We're going to talk about it. It's our first Coors Field slate that I'm on a show talking Coors Field. Looking at the weather, I mean, it's going to be low 50s, upper 40s in Coors Field there. Just going to be a brutal matchup for anybody heading into Coors Field all season long because this Rockies pitching staff is absolutely horrendous. And tonight they're facing a guy that I believe has given up, 17 runs in his 2 starts so far. So we'll talk about the Arizona offense when we get to that. If you guys are new, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Helps us out a ton. And if you are not a member yet, head over to shipitnation.com. You can use that promo code HOOP15. It's a big week over here at the Nation. Masters week. We got you covered for everything. Talking PGA, talking Masters. Promo code HOOP15 gets you 15% off whatever package you do choose. If you get the all-access monthly package there, brings it down to about $2 a day for all the sports we cover. You see it up there on the screen. No better rate in the industry than us. So hit that join now button, use that promo code, and get in here, get in the best community, and start winning with us. How much we're going to go through like we always do, talk pitchers, talk game by game, talk our favorite stacks. Before we do, see Go Collect in the chat, Richie Smalls, Gator Nation, Jake Swales, Charlie, Shauna Mania, Monica, everybody in here. Appreciate you guys tuning in here on this Monday afternoon. How much? We're going to start with pitchers, and it's Mr. Chalk Snell, Blake Snell, making his debut here tonight as the most expensive pitcher on the slate here on DraftKings. You got Charlie Morton, $300 cheaper than him. We're going to go 8K and above. I want to throw out a couple of names. Number 1, Yu Darvish. Talk on Yu Darvish. Talk on Zach Eflin. Talk on Blake Snell, and then Charlie Morton in particular. Those are kind of the guys that are getting the ownership right now in terms of this slate. Framber is going to get a little bit of ownership facing that red-hot Texas offense there in Texas as well at 8K. But break down this top tier. I do think it is a spend-up pitcher slate here tonight. So let's spend a little bit of time breaking down these top-tier arms because there's a lot of good ones here in my opinion, and it's a pretty weak overall value pitching slate that I'm looking at. So most of my lineups are going to come from 2 of these guys above 8K here. Throw it over to you. Where are you going, man? Talk about 8K and above.
Yeah, it's an interesting pitching slate. We got some studs, I guess, if you will, making their debut. I'll just start at the top and just go price, then we'll rank them there at the end. But Blake Snell, Gets a pristine matchup taking on this Washington Nationals team with a projected K rate of 25%, which is pretty healthy. Gets a massive ballpark upgrade playing in San Francisco tonight. So that's just one more reason why he'll be chalk. And it's decent weather in San Fran. I think it's in the 60s, but that's a pitcher's ballpark. Blake Snell, last year's Cy Young winner, making his debut against the Nationals team that's just, let's face it, not very good. He's going to be super chalky. Don't mind him tonight. Next up would be Charlie Morton at 10K on DK. Taking on this Mets team that was very popular yesterday. Lindor finally hit a bomb. They were in a great ballpark, but, man, they've just been struggling early in the season. They do have over a 4 implied run total tonight, just above 4. But, man, it's going to be tough to play those Mets. But I don't mind Charlie Morton. The thing with Charlie, though, is 10K for Charlie Morton. He's going to be not as high owned. $300 more you can get to Blake Snell. So certainly Charlie Morton would be a contrarian pitcher, in my opinion. This Mets team striking out around 22%. He would be a pivot off of Snell, in my opinion, just based on that price. And then the next 2 pitchers are 2 that I like the most. Luis Castillo taking on this Blue Jays offense that just hasn't been very good this year. Going to face 6 righties. And then Zach Eflin taking on these Angels in L.A. I like Zach Eflin a lot. Both of those guys would be probably my favorite 2 pitchers on DraftKings. And then the last one I want to mention is Zach Gallen. Zach Gallen's a really good pitcher. Going up against Colorado in Colorado. I mean, if this game wasn't in Colorado, he'd be a surefire pick. But, give me some Zach Gallen as a contrarian option. I mean, we're showing him at 20% owned. I don't think he'll be that high, Nate. It's interested to hear your take on Gallen, but those would be kind of the 5 in this range that I'm looking at. I mean, I know you mentioned Darvish and Paxton. You can talk a little bit about those guys. But that's the 5 that I would target.
Yeah, no, excellent breakdown here. We differ a little bit. It's going to start with Blake Snell. It is a great matchup here. This Washington team isn't very patient here. Not the greatest strikeout matchup in general overall as a team. They kind of put the ball in play here. And Blake Snell, I mean, I expect him to be limited to about 70 pitches is what I'm seeing here. Can he go out and do that and be efficient? I think he can, right? It is still Blake Snell here. It's a good pitcher's park there. Like the Giants' bats a little bit as well. Should have some run support behind it. But, man, most expensive pitcher on the slate. When we get to the bats, I mean, you got the Dodgers, you got the Braves, you got the Phillies, you got Houston, you got Arizona. You got expensive bats to pay for here. And 10-3 with a pitch count concern here against a team that overall isn't a very strikeout-happy offense. Looking at the Nationals here. I just don't know. I mean, I just don't think it's a spot. I want to be a little bit underweight on Blake Snell here. Kind of take a wait and see approach. It is his first start. I kind of love when Blake Snell is chalk to be a little bit underweight here. And so personally, I'm off of Blake Snell. I'm off of Charlie Morton. I'm off the 2 guys at the top. I really like Castillo a ton as a pivot off that top tier. I think this matchup is great for Castillo here. I expect him to get squeezed between Eflin, Darvish, Morton, and Snell. So I don't see a ton of ownership ending up for Castillo. De facto just makes me like him even more. So I do like Castillo quite a bit. Love Zach Eflin here. Zach Eflin's my favorite pitcher on this slate here. This Angels team just isn't any good. You still have Mike Trout in there. I get it. But outside of that, I mean, there's one bat to pitch behind. Still 25% strikeout rate at home last season against right-handed pitching here. Zach Eflin coming in. Like him a ton here in this spot. I'm going to talk about James Paxton because I do have interest in James Paxton here. It was nice. He got up to 97 pitches in his first start with LA, which definitely was a little bit of a concern there, but he did struggle 5 walks. I think if he gets those walks under control here and they let him go 97 to 100 pitch or 90 to 100 pitches here again against this strikeout-happy Minnesota team here, I think he has the upside to contest on this slate. So I do like James Paxton a little bit here. Yu Darvish is probably going to be pretty chalky here, but it's hard to ignore the matchup. I like Yu Darvish a ton. I really like the Yu Darvish Zach Eflin pairing here. Just kind of feels safe to me, kind of where I'm looking to go. So I do like Yu Darvish a ton. I'm out on Zach Gallen. I get it. It's a brutal offense here in Colorado. It's decent weather there, right? Pretty cold overall, so it should help the pitchers a little bit. But, man, Zach Gallen, I just don't think he's right yet. So for me, I'm off Gallen. And then Framber, I'm not going to get to Framber. I don't really want to target this Texas offense on this 9-game slate when there's other offenses to target. So for me, it's Castillo, Eflin, Paxton, and Darvish is kind of where I'm living in that range right there. I'm out on Snell, out on Morton, and then out on that lower tier. So I'm living in that 9,400 to 8,400 range right there with those 4 pitchers, and feel pretty good about it is kind of where I'm going. Go ahead and talk about the sub 8K range. I want to throw out a couple names. Saw some talks to Spencer Turnbull in the chat. Touch on him. Free money Freeland. Any interest for you? Double leverage there. Anytime Freeland pitches in Coors Field, I bring it up all the time. Tends to pitch very well when he is at home, but I just don't know if he's outmatched here in this contest. It does seem like he's going to be in over his head. And then Jose Barrios is another guy I want you to bring up because as the chalk SB2 option, the cheap option, I do think everyone jumps down to Jose Barrios against the strikeout-happy Mariners offense. So hit on him, hit on Turnbull, hit on any other interest you have down here. Tyler Anderson coming off a big start, but facing a pretty tough Rays offense overall. Where are you going down low, Hamwich?
Yeah, well, Friday night I was on my guy, Patrick Corbin. He just obliterated your Phillies, was absolutely dominating them. Couldn't wait to get in the chat to tell you all about it. Then he gave up like 2 or 3 runs in like the 6th inning. I'm like, come on, Skip, get him out of the game. I need to talk trash to Nades. I'm going right back to the well, man. Miles Michaelis, I like him tonight against this Phillies team. This Phillies offense just is not potent at all. Strikeouts up and down this roster. They've scored, I think, less than 4 runs, I think, in 7 of their games so far. Strikeouts galore. I cornered Mackenzie Gore yesterday. He dominated this Phillies team. Yeah, I see you shaking your head. He dominated that team yesterday. The 8-hitter got an RBI single and hit a home run. Those were the only 2 runs against the mighty Nationals team. Miles Michaelis will dominate this Phillies team tonight. Love that play. Love that play even more now that you're shaking your head. And then the other one that I'll mention, Jose Barrios that you talked about. I'm just not going to do it, Nate. $7,100 gives up tons of power to left-handed hitters. And this Mariners team should trot out a bunch of lefty power. I shouldn't say a bunch, but it's quite a few. You got Polanco in there that went bomb the other day. I think Canzone hit a home run yesterday. And then from the right-handed side, obviously, you got Julio Rodriguez, Mitch Garver, if he's in the lineup, Mitch Haniger, if he's in the lineup. So I'm going to be out on Jose Barrios, especially if he's chalky. No thank you for that. Give me some Miles Michaelis, and I'll let you talk about how great of a play he's going to be tonight.
Yeah, I mean, the more you the more you play with fire, the quicker you're going to get burnt. I'll tell you that right now. Mackenzie Gore and Miles Michaelis are two completely different pitchers. So maybe you take you take your victory lap there and just move on and just save everyone in the chat here. Save everyone in your household and your own pocket, your own checkbook, some money. Don't play Michaelis here. I mean, that's just, I couldn't think of a worse play on this slate. If you want to do that, go ahead. I actually have a ton of interest in this Phillies offense here. Michaelis, I mean, this guy just has no strikeout ability here. He gets hard hit. Phillies guaranteed nothing at bats here. I mean, we know what this guy is. He's going to get lit up here tonight. So should have just took your Mackenzie Gore to the well there and ended it there. Keep attacking these Phillies. They're going to come around. I like these guys quite a bit here tonight. But for me, down low, it's pretty much 2 guys for me. I have interest in Tyler Anderson coming off a good start there. I don't mind him. And then the other guy I'm looking at is Jose Barrios here. I get it. There's a lot of power in that lineup there for Seattle. But overall, I mean, there's still a lot of strikeouts that come with it as well. There's a lot of boom bust guys in there, right? Guys like Cal Raleigh, Haniger, Luke Raley, Polanco even. They're all 25, 28% strikeout rate plus. With the power. So it's a lot of boom bust guys in there. I think if you are punting, he'd be my preferred guy, just like pretty much the field. So kind of a chalky take there overall. But realistically, I want to go with 2 of the 4 up top in Castillo, Eflin, Paxton, and Darvish is kind of where I'm trying to build my teams around and not have to worry about one of these cheap options down here. If you want to go with like the Braves, right, or the high-priced Dodgers bats, you probably have to go down here. It's also probably a similar roster construction to the field, so definitely be cognizant of that. Don't go in there and play a Coors Field, a 5-man Arizona stack with a Barrios, with a Blake Snell, or a Darvish, and just build the same team everyone else does. So for me, it's those 4 up at the top. down low, I'm trying to avoid the range, but if I had to pick one, it'd be Anderson or Berrios. No Mikolas for me. I'll leave that to Hamwich here to burn his checkbook. Hopefully his eyes aren't going to be burning as bad as his wallet are after he's been staring at that eclipse all day. But Hamwich, I'll throw it over to you. Go ahead and rank your top 4 pitchers for the people, and dear help the chat if Mikolas is in there. Man, it's going to be a tough show, and we can only go up from here.
One thing to note on Paxton is I saw there's some weather there in Minnesota. I think that's the only game. Please verify that, though, Nades. But I think there's some weather. So just be leery of that. And, yeah, I'm not going to have Mikolas in my top 3, but, man, he's going to be definitely squarely in play, jamming in all those Braves, jamming in all those D-backs. But number 1 for me is going to be Zach Eflin. Number 2 for me would be Luis Castillo. Number 3 for me is going to be I'm going to go with Charlie Morton. I'm not a big believer in this Mets lineup. And then, 4th, you got him. I think he's squarely in play on DK. Going to look at him on FanDuel as well. But Miles Mikolas going to continue the domination of this Phillies lineup, put up 2 home runs against that vaunted Washington pitching staff yesterday. More of the same today in the Lou.
All right. Well, interesting rankings there. Good luck to you, Hamwich, here, and everyone tailing you. Love a little friendly banter here. Spices these shows up a little bit. Chat seems to enjoy it as well. I'm going to rank mine. I'm going Yu Darvish number 1. Just like the price, the matchup, everything checks out. Padres offense should give him some run support as well there. Like him, I'm going to go Zach Eflin number 2. Luis Castillo 3 for me. Paxton 4. And then if I was going down low, my 5th would be Jose Berrios is where I'm going. So that's my top 5 here. Again, where I really want to live is 2 of those 4 pitchers in that 8,400 to 9,400 price point is kind of where I'm looking at today. I'm out on Blake Snell with the pitch count concern. Charlie Morton, I just not a believer in Charlie Morton. This guy gets lit up every time I play this guy. I kind of wrote him off last season. Didn't really play much of Morton. Did me pretty well. So I'm going to keep that train rolling here, especially with him being 10K here. Just not really interested in that. So that's where I'm going from pitching here tonight. Let's go ahead and jump game by game. If you guys are new, just tuning in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Helps us out a ton. If you are not a member yet and you want access to my cores, Hamwich's Puke Core, everybody else, Rio Slate Plan for NBA, who continues to absolutely print MMA content for the MMA cards. And then more importantly, right, with the Masters, second major of the year here, the Masters, everybody's favorite golf tournament. We got you covered there. Our guys, Tambo and Hoop, will be on the shows covering that. We'll have everything, course fit rankings, everything there. Get access to that. Use that promo code, Hoop 15 brings it down to about $2 a day for all access, all sports, everything you need to have success with DFS. Hamwich, I'm going to kick it over to you. Seattle-Toronto is the first game here on the slate. From a matchup standpoint, overall, let me just pull it up here 1 second. Let me get to my screens are all screwed up here. Sorry. Castillo on the mound, Berrios on the mound, 2 of the more popular pitchers on the slate. Castillo is going to be squeezed a little bit, so he's a little bit lower on, but still a very good pitcher. I have a ton of interest in him. One of the lowest totals on the slate here. Realistic from a bat standpoint, I don't like a lot in this game at all. I know you talked about liking some of that Seattle lefty power. So touch on that. I'll kick it over to you first. Are you going to Seattle against Berrios, the chalky SP2 on the slate? Where are you going, man? Seattle, Toronto.
Yeah, I have a ton of interest in Castillo, so definitely no Blue Jays for me. Not even a one-off on that side. I just think they're struggling right now. And they're going to trot out 6 to 7 righties. I haven't seen a confirmed lineup. Maybe it's come out since we've been on. But 6 to 7 righties in that lineup. I do see it out now. And, you got 7 righties. Castillo striking out righties at a 28% clip. No, thank you. On the other side, I have a ton of interest in this Mariners team, especially if that ownership creeps up. You talk about it all the time, double leverage against a chalky SP2. No interest in JP Crawford, but really 2 through, I would say, 8. I don't mind Luke Raley all the way down there if he's batting 8 today, but J-Rod, Polanco, Garver, Raleigh, Haniger, hey, lock and load, especially these lefties. Berrios gives up tons of power to these left-handed hitters, and we got 4 that I'm interested in. So, ton of interest in the Mariners. No interest whatsoever in these Blue Jays bats coming home.
Yeah, Great breakdown here. I'm a little bit different. I think you can grab a one-off or two here, like a Canzone at his $2,900 price point in the outfield position, just for his power upside. He's got low strikeouts as well, at least looking at last season's numbers against right-handed pitching. But Berrios, I mean, he allowed currently last season, a 180 ISO to lefties, which isn't great, but it isn't like one of the worst in the league there. His fly ball rate was just 26% to lefties there. Still mainly a ground ball pitcher here. So typically I don't like stacking against ground ball pitchers. The Blue Jays park, right, push that the power alley there as well. So for me, it's just one-offs. If you land on a Cal Raleigh, a Garver, a Polanco, a Canzone, I think those guys are fine. Not looking to stack these Mariners here tonight. Not looking to stack these Blue Jays and pick on Castillo. Castillo is one of my favorite pitchers on the slate. So personally, for me, really, I don't have much interest, if any, in this spot here. You can't play them all. I'm a little bit different than Ham, and hey, that's fine. If we came on here and agreed every day, that wouldn't be any fun for anyone. So I'm off this game from bats. Hamwich likes the Mariners here. I like other offenses more than them, so I'm out on them here tonight. Let's talk about the next one here. Probably the clear-cut chalk offense of the slate outside of Arizona. It's these Atlanta Braves, which seem to be another day ending in Y. We're going to be talking about this team pretty much every single show you hear all season long. One of the best offenses on paper here at home in Truist Park, facing Julio Teheran, who doesn't strike anyone out, gets hit by a ton of hard contact here. And everybody throughout this Braves lineup can smash the baseball here. Even the guys down at the bottom, you get some cheap bats. In Orlando Arcia, who I played a ton last season, he was always left off of stacks. He's hitting down in the 7 or the 8 spot at a weak shortstop position. So I don't mind him at 3,600. TDA, Travis d'Arnaud there, down at the bottom. Jared Kelenic, the new addition to this Braves offense. Talk about these Braves. Implied to score almost 6 runs. And then any interest in these Mets against Charlie Morton here, who hasn't looked the same. And we just saw what this Braves pitching staff dealt with Arizona. Obviously, this Mets offense is a different offense, but talk about this one in Truist Park here, Mets, Atlanta.
Yeah, no Mets for me. I had Charlie as my third-ranked pitcher. Charlie Morton strikes out over 28% of left-handed hitters, facing 6th in the confirmed lineup on a Mets team that strikes out a bunch. No thank you for these Mets. If you wanted to do a one-off, I mean, obviously Alonso is always a great play, but he himself strikes out over 25% versus right-handed pitching on the road. So no thank you there for the Mets. Then on this Braves side, I actually have this Braves stack as my number 1 ranked stack, a little bit ahead of the Diamondbacks at home again, taking on the former Atlanta Brave great, Julio Teheran. I think they smash him. Julio really struggles to strike out right-handed hitters. So give me some Acuna. Give me some Matt Olson. I know he's a lefty who mashes sinker ball pitchers, and Julio's a sinker ball pitcher. But it's 1 through 6 for me. Acuna, Olson leading the way, like Marcelo Ozuna, who's been on a tear as well, and even some Michael Harris, who went yard yesterday. Really going to focus in on 1 through 6 for the Braves. I think we lock and load in them, and they are on the winner tonight.
Yeah, I love the Braves. Braves also my favorite offense. You can get access to my 5 favorite stacks, my 5 favorite pitchers that I listed, some one-off value options in the MLB slate plan over here at SHIPITNation.com. Love the Braves 1 through 9. I differ a little bit more than you. I do think everyone loves the top 6 hitters, obviously, but I like jumping in and grabbing these bottom half with every stack. I mean, that's just how I play baseball. These back half 7, 8, 9 hitters, always under-owned for their talent, especially Travis d'Arnaud at 3,700. He had a 271 ISO last year at home against right-handed pitching. Now gets a guy that doesn't strike anybody out, especially righties. Struggles with hard contact here. Give me some Travis d'Arnaud at 3,700. At a catcher position, he didn't strike out much at all against right-handed pitching last year. Put the ball in play, hit for a ton of power, so I do love him a ton. You can wrap it around to Jared Kelenic. Looking at Julio Teheran's numbers last year, I mean, he struggled to fly balls to the left side of the plate. 35% fly ball rate to left-handed hitters. He faces a lot of good ones here. Ozzie Albies, right? Matt Olson, Michael Harris, Jared Kelenic. 1 through 9 for me, Braves. Another day ending in Y. My favorite stack of the night. They are expensive. I want to spend up at pitching, so I don't know if I can get to a 5-man Brave stack. but I do like 2- and 3-man stacks a ton. Make it a little bit more affordable. Pair them up with the Astros or the Phillies or some of these other offense. We will talk about the Giants maybe, but that's where I'm going. No Mets for me against Charlie Morton. I just like other pitchers, and they're ceiling more than spending $10K for Charlie Morton, but I get the reason there. I know you like Charlie Morton a ton. Not going to pick it off. Any guy, maybe, if any, would be a DJ Stewart just because I got a soft spot for him. He hit me a lot of home runs as a one-off last season. I don't mind going back to him or Francisco Alvarez, just 2 power bats hoping for a home run. That's about all you're looking for there. Let's jump to the next one here. Another good one. We're going to talk about these Dodgers. You want to talk about another low-owned, very low-owned offense here that has slate-breaking upside anytime they're on the slate. They're also guaranteed 9th inning at-bats here, facing Bailey Ober, who struggled almost a double-digit hard hit contact barrel percentage last season at home. Dodgers implied to score right around 5 runs, heading into Minnesota to face these Twins. From the weather standpoint, I know you brought up the weather a little bit. Roth over at RotoGrinders and on Twitter has it tagged as yellow, saying there is a chance for some showers. He said the heavy stuff likely holds north of the stadium, so this game should play. I think it's safe for hitters here. I like these Dodgers quite a bit here, and they're going to be probably sub 5% owned as a total stack when you're talking about Astros that are going to get more ownership. The Braves are going to get more ownership, and Arizona for sure. All 3 of those are going to get more ownership. So talk about this Dodgers offense, and then any Twins for you against Paxton and his struggle, his ability to walk some hitters like we saw in his first start that can definitely lead to some issues when you're on the bump.
Yeah, should be a good game. And the thing with this Dodgers team is that these guys are just so they're just so high priced. I mean, obviously when you're building your teams, you get them locked and loaded in there, then they get rained out or whatever, then it's tough to pivot because some of your guys have already canceled. But 2 guys at the top of the list, and it's only going to be 2. I mean, I may do a mini with these 2, and it's Mookie and Shohei. Really profile very well against Bailey Ober. Bailey Ober in his first start got absolutely lit up by this Kansas City Royals team. And if you thought the Kansas City Royals had a good offense, wait till you see these Dodgers. Bailey Ober got about 1.5 miles faster on his fastball, and it didn't seem to work out too well for him from last year. So really like this Dodgers team. I'm with you there. We're in agreement, but it's going to be Mookie. The Mookie show and Shohei show for me would be my favorite 2, and then mix and match as we go. Then on the other side, I know you have some interest in Paxton, but I don't mind this. I don't mind this Twins lineup. It looks like they've tried it out, 9 right-handed hitters, obviously all facing from the same side. I would really target these guys that are going to stay in even when a righty comes in, the Carlos Correas, the Buxtons of the world, because you know the minute that they get a righty in there, they're going to start switching some of these guys out. But Correa, Buxton, Ryan Jeffers should all be safe and all profile very well versus Paxton. So give me a 2, 3, 4 for the Twins, and then definitely give me Shohei and Mookie on the other side. I will not be full stacking this Dodgers team, but yeah, make sure you're paying attention to that weather up there in the Twin Cities.
Yeah, no, excellent breakdown here. Looking at the numbers here, I mean, I just think this is a spot where it's pretty easy, especially in MME, to get overweight on an offense that can win any given slate that they're on. In the Dodgers here, they are expensive. You're going to have to drop down into the Barrioses and those cheap pitchers, or find some cheap one-offs to go with it if you're 5-man stacking these guys. But looking at last season, Bailey Ober, solid real-life pitcher, good strikeout rates, especially to right-handed hitters, but he also struggles with reverse split power here. I mean, looking at last year, he gave up a 252 ISO to the right-handed hitter and a fly ball rate almost north of 40%. When you look at the hitters, Chris Taylor, 36% fly ball rate last season. Mookie Betts, 33%. This whole Dodgers offense is all over 26% in terms of fly ball rate. He struggled with fly balls to both sides of the plate here and power. I mean, this is a full stack spot for me here at very low ownership with opportunity to win the slate. So that's kind of where I'm at with the Dodgers. Just don't see a lot of ownership going to it. This confirmed lineup for the Dodgers last season had a 251 expected ISO against right-handed pitching on the road. You pair that with guaranteed 9th inning at bats here. You got a very cheap stone minimum, Taylor Trammell, down there in the 9 spot, who had a 344 ISO last season against right-handed pitching. You can wrap it around to the top. There is a little pinch hit concern there, right? Obviously, once the lefty comes in, a lot of these guys are going to get pulled, like the Trammels, like the Outmans, like the Gavin Luxes. But 2K stone minimum, he goes out there and gets you a hit, maybe steals a base. potentially hits a home run, you're sitting pretty good there. So I do like these Dodgers quite a bit. And then on the Twins side, I like Paxton enough to take these Twins off my list. I mean, you can always play a Buxton or a Jose Miranda who just puts the ball in play and never strikes out. But outside of that, no Twins for me. I do like Paxton quite a bit here on the slate. As long as he can keep those walks in check, I think he has the strikeout upside to contest for a winning starting pitcher spot on DraftKings on this slate. Jump to the next game here. Phillies and the Cardinals. Your boy, your ace of the slate, Miles Mikolas here at home, facing these Phillies who you say are absolutely dog shit. I like these Phillies here tonight, but I'll let you throw it over. Spencer Turnbull on the mound, Mikolas on the mound here. Very high total in this one. Two pretty bad pitchers overall. Talk about this one, Philly and the Cardinals. Where are you going for bets?
Yeah, so I do like Mikolas tonight, but I will say this. We're going to give it out at the end of the show. We'll give one out now, one out later. Kyle Schwarber is going yard tonight. Go ahead and mark that down. So I do like Kyle Schwarber. I will say that. But I think Mikolas can limit the damage everywhere else. Don't mind him tonight. Needs to go out and get, 30-plus FanDuel points, 15-plus DK points. I think he's okay. I was just building a team while you were talking. You can get a lot of Dodgers and a lot of Braves if you go with Mikolas on FanDuel. So don't mind Mikolas, but yeah, it's a one-off Kyle Schwarber for me. Kyle Schwarber is hitting a home run tonight. And then on the other side, I don't know what's going on with this Cardinals team. They're just not been very good this year. Got beat by the Marlins yesterday. But you could play any of those guys, the usual suspects over there. Nolan Gorman, I feel like we play all the time. Goldschmidt, Contreras, Arenado, Jordan Walker. They have the bats over there. They're pretty good, and they're facing a pitcher that's not very good, has a sub 17% strikeout rate. So I don't think the Cardinals are the worst play tonight. I personally won't be getting there. They have almost a 5 implied run total, about 4.6. No thank you on the Cardinals. Kyle Schwarber is hitting a home run tonight.
Yeah, I like Schwarber and Harper. If there's any more lefties that go in there, I would love them too. Mikolas just is terrible against lefties. His hard hit, he had a 204 ISO to lefties last season, and I don't expect that to get any better this season here. So I love Schwarber, love Harper. Add in some stacks with Real Muto, Alec Boehm, Castellanos there. Like this Phillies offense here, guaranteed nothing at bats here. I didn't look at the weather in St. Louis here. Let me just look at that quick. Overall, it's pretty cold across the country, but out there in St. Louis, 71 degrees to start the game. One of the best hitting environments on the slate. Not the greatest hitters park, but last season we did see the runs tick up there in St. Louis with the new rules. So I like this Phillies offense quite a bit. Going to be unowned here. You're on Mikolas. I'm on the Phillies. We'll see. May the best man win here tonight. These Cardinals side, think they're fine. I mean, they got good numbers looking at it. Low strikeout rate last season at home to right-handed pitching. Now they face a guy that doesn't strike anybody out. Struggled last season, had a very high expected ERA of 6.12 over the season. And this lineup has a lot of power in it. I mean, team ISO, expected ISO of 188 here. Burleson, Jordan Walker, Nolan Gorman would be my favorite there at second base at 4K, hitting in the heart of that lineup. Wilson Contreras, Paul Goldschmidt. I do think these Cardinals are interesting here. They're a little expensive, especially the top-end guys for what they could be, but you get some cheap bats, guys like Alec Burleson down there at 2,500 with some power, low strikeouts in 143 plate appearances last year. I think he's one of the best values on the slate, so I do like some Alec Burleson quite a bit. Outside of that, I don't think I'm going to be stacking up these Cardinals. I like the Giants a little bit. I like some of these other teams that we already talked about compared to these Cardinals. Couple games left here. Let's jump into the next one here. Big total in this one. It's the Astros and the Rangers. A little battle of Texas here. Houston, Framber Valdez on the mound. Just kidding. He did just get scratched, I believe, right? Blair Henley, a prospect, is slated to start, I look like. So no Framber here for the Astros. Should give a little boost to this Rangers offense. But I want you to hit on these Astros. Probably going to be one of the top 3 owned stacks of the slate behind the Braves and behind the D-backs, but for a good reason. I like these guys a ton. Yainer Diaz, Chas McCormick, just Andrew Heaney, hard contact here. Where are you going, Houston and Texas?
Yeah, I didn't see that. So that obviously that's going to change some things up, but I have some respect for Heaney. I'm surprised to see that the Astros are coming in that high owned. He has some good strikeout upside to righties and obviously to lefties as well. I'm gonna dig in a little bit more on that other side, but I don't know who this prospect is that you just alluded to. If he's out, I think the Rangers, they have almost a 5 implied run total as it is, and that was against Framber. Now we get this prospect. Ton of interest in the Rangers. I'm going to look at this guy once we get off the show, but I would like the Rangers. And Nades, tell me something I'm missing. Why do the Astros have almost a 5.5 run total against Heaney, who has some decent stuff? He's a lefty. I think I'm out on the Astros. Interested to hear your take on them.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at he has the fluke or the spike performances where he does have a lot of strikeouts, but overall, I mean, looking at it, 23% strikeout, basically an average strikeout pitcher, struggled with power to the right side of the plate. These Astros have a lot of righties, right? 7 righties in this projected lineup with some power. Jose Altuve, Bregman, Diaz, McCormick, Jeremy Pena, Jake Myers. Some of these guys can hit the ball a long ways here, and he struggles with right-handed power. Looking at last season's numbers, 195 ISO to the right side of the plate with a 34% fly ball rate. So that's the reason. A lot of fly balls, a lot of low strikeout power bat righties here for these Astros. Chas McCormick, Bregman would be my 2 favorites. I mean, looking at their fly ball rate last season, almost a 40% fly ball rate for Chas McCormick with some power. So I like him. I like Bregman a ton. Jake Myers I like a lot. Yainer Diaz. And obviously you got 2 of the best hitters in baseball in Kyle Tucker and Yordan Alvarez that you can add into stack. So I like these Astros quite a bit here. I get it. Heaney can have spike performances where his strikeout stuff does come. But overall, I mean, he just had a 23.6% strikeout rate last season to both sides of the plate, which is basically league average. So while he does have some upside, I like these Astros bats to overpower him here. Guaranteed 9th inning at bats as well. And then on the Rangers side, I also didn't see Underdog or anyone come out with that Framber scratch, so I'll have to look into that. I just saw the chat talking about it. Nij the Great was in chat talking about that. I didn't see it come across. If that is true, I will have to look into it. So it's hard to break these Rangers down. But Corey Seager, I think, is an elite one-off anytime. Adolis Garcia. But outside of that, really not looking to target these Rangers against Framber if he's on there. That could change if that prospect is going here tonight. I have to look into that further before I break it down. I will post my thoughts in the Discord and update this slate plan accordingly over here at SHIPITNation.com. All right, we got a couple games left here, and we got to talk about it. It's our first Coors Field slate of the year, Hamwich, that we're on the same show together here. It's these D-backs, almost highest implied run total on the slate, coming into Coors Field to face Kyle Freeland here, whose average DK points is, I think, is like negative 13 or something like that I saw on DraftKings here. So that looks very good for this team of D-backs who just got to Spencer Strider while they were in Arizona. D-backs team is going to be a team we're playing all season long, especially when they're in Coors Field here, facing one of the worst pitching staffs in baseball. Talk about D-backs, talk about the Rockies here. Zach Gallen, Kyle Freeland on the bump.
Yeah, Freeland's so bad, man. He strikes out less than 15% of right-handed hitters. I just don't see how you could play free money Freeland, but some may, I guess. But my favorite Diamondback by far is going to be Christian Walker. Really like him. Batting cleanup today. This Diamondbacks team, you alluded to it. I mean, they really beat up this Braves pitching staff. They got to Strider on Friday. I think they got the Max Fried on Saturday, put up another 6 to 8 runs. They got limited a little bit yesterday, but they're going to be super popular. Nate's my other hot take. I don't think the Diamondbacks are going to be on the winner tonight. I just don't. I think the weather's a little chillier there than normal. I like Christian Walker, and I won't be stacking them up on my main team. I think 150, even 20, you got to keep them in there. But yeah, on my main team, I say they come in. They underperform. They get below 6 runs, which is their implied run total tonight. Then on the other side, I have a little interest in Gallen. No thank you for any of these Rockies. I will only be playing this in 150 and not on my main team.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. In single entry 3-max stuff, I do think these D-backs come in as mega chalk. So I'm gonna go to some of these other offenses like the Dodgers, like the Braves, like the Astros, who I think can match them at lower ownership, especially in those small field contests. In MME, I definitely obviously would suggest getting overweight on the D-backs. Is a little bit easier to do it in MME versus the smaller entry 3-max single entry contest. But D-backs, I mean, 1 through 9 firmly in play. Blaze Alexander, prospect there at shortstop at 3,700. It's probably my favorite just because I don't love shortstop here tonight. And you get a guy hitting in the 8 spot. His ownership should be down a little bit at least compared to some of these other guys at the top with the Carrolls, the Gurriels, Christian Walkers, the Suarez's. Ketel Marte is getting slammed in pretty much every optimizer you use. I expect him to get a ton of ownership here, but 1 through 9 firmly in play. I think my favorite play is going to be Blaze Alexander just at the shortstop position at 3,700 on DK. I do like him. You got Kevin Newman there as well if you want a guy there. But mini stacks, I think, is my preferred option with the D-backs. I don't want a 5-man stack. The weather, looking at the weather, like I said, it's going to be in the upper 40s throughout the duration of this game here in Coors Field. On the Rockies side, I don't want to attack Zach Gallen here. So no Rockies for me. But I did want to jump back to the last game. It is confirmed Blair Henley is going to start here for the Astros. Looking at his his minor league numbers, he had a 4.47 ERA, pitched 165 innings with 185 total strikeouts. I mean, do you want to hit on him at all? Does that increase? I mean, we've seen a lot of these guys, right, especially this season, making their first major league starts, kind of get beat up a little bit here. And now he's starting here against a Texas team who has a ton of power and very good hitters up and down this lineup. I don't know if you want to jump back and talk on Texas at all. Does this increase your interest in Texas Rangers at all against Blair Henley making his first start?
Yeah. Blair Henley, no interest there. I mean, that would only increase if it's his first start. Increase my liking in this Rangers team. I mean, Wyatt Langford, a pretty good price, 4,200. Evan Carter, 4,300. Jared Walsh, 3,800. I mean, I think all those guys are squarely in play. Marcus Semien has had a decent little weekend. Corey Seager. I do have a ton of interest in this Rangers team now that we know that Framber, no typical ground ball pitcher, is no longer there. We got a rookie, a prospect. It's tough to make that jump, right? Coming from AAA up to the majors, on top of the fact that he's on the road in a rubber match against their arch rival, and it's against a team that just won the World Series. So I'm going to be firing up these Rangers for sure. Really like 1 through 5. I think you could probably get to 6, 7, 8, 9 if you needed the salary. But yeah, give me some 1 through 5 for these Rangers.
Yeah, looking at the numbers, looking like he gives up a little bit more power to righties. I mean, he gave up last season in his minor league start, just looking into his splits here a little bit. Gave up 6 home runs in 61 innings pitched. He only gave up 2 home runs in 43 innings pitched to lefties. But opposing hitters hit for a 259 average for righties and a 250 average for lefties. So, I mean, hitters still did pretty good. He gave up a lot. I mean, he had 26 walks to righties, 27 walks to lefties. So, I mean, I think these Rangers definitely become more interesting here for me. It's just it's a potent offense. These Rangers were on the winner. They were just on the winner the other night, right? Popped off for 10 runs at very low ownership here. I expect them to be very low owned here again tonight. How many times last season, how much did we see these Rangers come out here? And what do? The Rangers just smash right-handed pitching at home, and they hit a ton of power. So this guy making his major league start, right-handed pitching. I talked about playing these Rangers every time, especially at home against the righty. This guy's making his first start, so I do bump up these Rangers a little bit here. Like them all quite a bit more with this guy. I just think he's going to be outmatched here. So definitely more interest there in that one. Did want to talk about that because I saw some people in the chat talking about that, and it is confirmed all over Twitter, multiple sources saying he is going to start here tonight. We got 3 games left here. Throw it over to you right away. Zach Eflin, Tyler Anderson here. The Rays heading into LA to face the Angels. terms of bats in this one, I don't really like either side of this game. I think Tyler Anderson's fine as a cheap pitcher, as a pivot off of Berrios, and then Zach Eflin, one of my favorite pitchers on the slate. So a long, easy way to say I'm crossing this game off from bats, but do you see anything here in this game that you're interested in?
Yeah, Eflin's my favorite pitcher. Very bad offense outside of Trout tonight for these Angels. So yeah, so give me some Eflin. We got a 25% strikeout rate for these Angels. Eflin over a 26% strikeout rate. Just a perfect matchup for him, in my opinion. Anthony Rendon, the corpse of Anthony Rendon, no longer any good. All over Eflin. I know you talked a little bit about Tyler Anderson. I'm not going to be playing any Tyler Anderson, but I don't like the matchup for the Diamondbacks in this game. This would be one of those cross-off games. Only thing for me would be a one-off in Yandy Diaz if he's batting leadoff. And if he's in the lineup, don't mind that lefty-righty combination, full 9-inning at-bats. But cross off the Angels, only a one-off in Yandy Diaz for me.
Yeah, no, excellent breakdown. Let's jump into the next one here. We have Chicago heading into San Diego to face the Padres. Yu Darvish on the mound, one of the most chalky pitchers on the slate. I think one of my favorite pitchers overall, all things aside. Javier Assad on the mound for these Cubs. Pretty low implied run total on both sides of this one. Any Padres here for you? I do think the Padres are a decent kind of secondary stack here when you're looking at the overall slate dynamics here. No Cubs for me. I'll throw it over to you. Any Padres interest for you here against Assad at home? Implied to score right around 4 runs tonight.
Yeah, I was shocked really to see that this Yu Darvish was as popular as he's going to be tonight. You always talk about he's just jumping off the page in any optimizer that you click. But this Cubs team, man, they put up some runs over the weekend against the Dodgers. Now head on the road to head to Petco. A little bit different park, I understand that. But they got some pretty good bats. Bellinger, Morel, Swanson, Michael Busch had a good day yesterday, Suzuki. I mean, the list goes on and on. They got power in there. I mean, Darvish is a good pitcher, but I think the Cubs can get to him. So I don't mind them as a contrarian a contrarian play versus Darvish. You talk about it all the time. I mentioned it earlier, the double leverage going up against a chalky pitcher. And then the other one, the Padres, that's kind of my sneaky stack. I was taking a look at your slate plan that you did over at SHIPIT Nation. It was awesome, by the way. But these Padres, this is my low-owned stack. This is my Philly stack, if you will, of the night. My low-owned stack that's going to come in. I think they can rough up a side. Give me some Xander Bogaerts, Tatis, Machado, high Don Kim, power speed combo. I really like these Padres tonight at home, taking on this Cubs team who beat up these Dodgers pretty good, and they'll have to hit the road. I'm not all in on the Padres, but I'm all over the Padres tonight. They're my sneaky stack of the night for sure.
Yeah, no, I like them. It's much more Tatis or a Machado one-off or two-man stack for me. I mean, Assad is a decent real-life pitcher. He is a ground ball pitcher as well. Had about a 50% ground ball rate last season. I just historically in baseball just don't like stacking against ground ball pitchers because guy gets on, right? Ground ball, double play, out of the inning, things like that. It just goes south quickly. So for me, just a Tatis or a Machado, really don't have a ton of interest in the rest of this Padres offense. I'll take the Phillies over the Padres here tonight, and it'll be a little Nades and Hamwich battle here once again, and we'll regroup here on Friday on the show and see who scores more here tonight. But outside of that, no Cubs for me. Minimal interest in the Padres. Tatis and Machado, you can play those guys any slate. Hassan Kim at a shortstop position at 4,200, I think is fine as well. But not going to stack these Padres up, just one-offs. Let's jump to the last game of the slate here. Nationals heading in to face Blake Snell, making his debut here for 2024. The Giants. I have a little interest in these Giants because looking at the numbers for Trevor Williams just doesn't strike anyone out. Ton of hard contact here, especially to lefties. And looking at this Giants team, there's a lot of lefties here. Obviously, there is always the platoon splits, right, with the issue of these guys getting pinch hit for. But they're cheap overall as a stack. Implied to score over 5 runs here against Trevor Williams. I like these Giants quite a bit here tonight as a cheap mini filler stacks. I mean, nobody in this lineup is over $4,300. And there's a lot of expensive pitching to play, a lot of expensive bats to play. I like me some Giants here as the late night hammer. Throw it over to you. Any Nationals, any Giants for you to round out the slate?
Yeah, I mean, we don't have any, real interest in Blake Snell, but I think he can get enough innings, probably 4, 5, or 6 innings out of him. So no Nationals bats for me. I mean, they've just really struggled offensively all season long. And I think that continues. You got a ballpark upgrade for pitchers. So no Nats for me. And Trevor Williams, man, he's pretty bad. He's a pretty bad pitcher, has been for quite some time. I feel like we picked on him the last several years. The only one for me would be Lamonte Wade. If he's in there, can hit right-handed pitching pretty good. I hope he's batting second. But, yeah, it'd be Wade for me. I'm not going to full stack this team. I probably won't full stack in this park all season long, Nate. Just not a big fan of doing that. But, hey, they're implied to score for 5 runs as well, so we should see some fireworks. But it's just Wade or bust for me. Definitely no Nats.
Yeah, I don't think the Nats are the craziest just because, I mean, Blake Snell, one of the chalkiest pitchers of the slate, expected to go just about 70 pitches here. I mean, looking at his walk rates, I mean, we know what Blake Snell can do. I mean, he's got a freaking 13% walk rate overall at the course of the season. And last season, he walked almost 17% of left-handed hitters. I mean, Jesse Winker, I think, is solid. I mean, looking at last season's numbers, Jesse Winker had almost a 15% walk rate. So he sees the ball well. Jacob Young, Lane Thomas, these other guys, low strikeout, high walker rate guys, Joey Meneses. There could be an issue where these Nationals just kind of wait back and just hope that Snell just doesn't have it, not ready to start out there. Not one of my favorite stacks by any means, but anytime you have a pitcher that struggles with walks, that leads into trouble quickly. So I don't think it's the craziest take. I would probably rather play the Nationals than some of those other teams that we talked about. Much rather play the Nationals, I think, than the Rockies, even being in Coors Field. I think I would rather play them than some of those other teams that you mentioned. But for me, Giants, I like the Giants a ton. Lamonte Wade, love him here tonight. Conforto, love him. Yastrzemski, love him. Patrick Bailey as a switch hitting catcher. If he's in there, I think he's solid at 3,200. And then Young-Hoo Lee up at the top at 4,100, I think are solid. So I like the lefties here for the Giants. Just don't think Trevor Williams is any good. I'll continue to stack against this guy. And the Giants' price points make everything work. So I do like the Giants a ton, especially as a mini stack. As a 5-man, it's just hard for me to 5-man stack a team that struggles with pinch hit. And these guys get pinch hit for a ton out there in San Fran. We deal with it all the time. So for me, mini stacks on the Giants. And then the Nationals, I don't think are the craziest take. I can't get to them in single entry and 3-max. But in MME, I definitely would have some National stacks. Anytime I'm going to stack against a pitcher that has a double-digit walk rate, just because he starts walking guys, he's got to throw fastballs over the heart of the plate to catch back up on hitters. Things go south quickly when that happens. The only issue is this national offense just isn't very good, and they got to put the ball in play for trouble to happen. And Blake Snell is pretty good at wiggling out of jams. So that's a long way of saying have interest in the Giants, not a ton in the Nationals. But how much? That's all 9 games. You had some interesting takes at the pitcher. You already gave out one of your home run calls. I'll throw it back to you. Throw it over to Match Kyle Schwarber. Who's your second home run call of the evening?
Yeah, real quick, I want to touch on Charlie's question. Can we play 5 for Atlanta? I think you can. The issue, though, if you do that, is obviously you're going to have to find some pitchers, some cheaper pitchers. Nades and I both think that it's a top-end pitching slate, unless you want to play my boy Miklas, which would be risky for sure. Nades, I forget who your kind of value pitcher was, but you definitely can, Charlie, but you're going to have to find the pitching to match it. So for me, the second guy that's going to go home run, Kyle Schwarber, I've already given you that one for free. Parlay it with Matty Ice, Matt Olson, going yard again. You can get 11-1 odds on that. I just locked it in. Matt Olson, Kyle Schwarber, both going dong tonight. Hopefully they both go double dong, and I'll be about $5,000 richer. So let's do it tonight, Nades. That's my home run double dip tonight.
Yeah, no, I like it. I'm just going to give one just because I'm feeling pretty confident in this guy. He's in my core over at SHIPITNation.com. He's one of our highest ranked hitters here of the evening. It's the last game we just talked about. It's Lamonte Wade Jr., first base outfield eligible here. 3,300 for a guy who had 261 expected ISO last year. And I just think he smashes one deep here tonight. He's super cheap. Talked about liking these Giants quite a bit as a value secondary stack. Implied to score over 5 runs. I like Lamonte Wade. Expected hit in the 2-hole tonight. He's going deep off of Trevor Williams to start that game out tonight. Hopefully to push me up to the top of the leaderboards after my Astros, my Braves, my Dodgers get the jobs done. How much, any closing remarks for the people before we get on out of here?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think it's going to be a top end pitching night. I also think it's going to be a top end offensive night. So to your point earlier, you can't play 1 through 5 on the Braves or the Diamondbacks or the Astros or whoever you're going to stack up. Got to get down in there and get those TDAs, get those 7, 8, 9s, find the right ones, get the right pitch, and hopefully we see you at the top of the leaderboard. It's been great over here at the Nation so far, so hopefully we can continue that tonight.
Yeah, been great over here at the Nation. And if you guys aren't a member yet, again, use that promo code HOOP15, gets you 15% off for life. Whatever package you choose, get in here now, get you covered for the Masters that tees off Thursday morning. Hoop, Tambo, and the crew will have you covered for everything there. I got you covered for NHL. Rio's got you covered for the rest of the NBA season, along with Hamwich and myself doing core reports. Our guy Title and Marley covering MMA. We got NASCAR. Saw NASCAR Shipper over on Twitter yesterday. We got you covered that with the addition of DJ and his crew. So use that promo code HOOP15. But that's going to do it today for the MLB Swing for the Fences show here. If everybody hit the like button, hit the subscribe button on the way out. For Hamwich, I'm Nadesify. We'll catch you guys next time.